Well, hi, Perry.
Hello, darling. How are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm good. Today's been a little crazy techie day, challenging techie day, and this is one of the things I'm working on in my life is trying to learn more about it. And man, it's just one of those things where it seems like every technical device, my from my car, my phone, my computer, maybe my energy's so high today, I'm just blowing out circuits. Maybe that's it.
I think that's it. I think your energy is so high that technology just can't keep up with you. And there's a lot of people that are trying to like get in and infiltrate all of your wisdom. And so you're just blowing shit up.
Hey, I'll receive it. That's called a reframe. Oh
Well,
my.
thank you so much for being with me today. And I know this is not our first time interviewing. It's probably our fifth or sixth or seventh or who knows, but I'm always so pumped to connect with you because, as you know, I call you my soul mom, my spirit mom, with all of the nuggets of wisdom and incredible gifts that you share, not just with me, but from all of the platforms that you have as a coach. And so I want our audience to get, those of you that don't know Perry, I want them to get a sense of who you are and
Sure.
what you'll be speaking on at the Soul Success Virtual Retreat.
Woohoo!
I
I'm so
know.
excited. What a lineup of, oh my gosh, these women, so great. Teachers, experts, just beautiful spirits. So I'm so honored to be a part of it. So thank you.
Oh, and thank you. Thank you for being a yes. Sometimes I wake up in the morning and I'm just like, how did I attract all of this talent of just incredible female thought leaders? Like, why were they a yes? Sometimes I have to pinch myself because the community is just so talented and brilliant, and it's people like you that really uplift
Oh,
me and give me the confidence that I can continue to be a better version of myself and manifest whatever it is that I want. So
well, it works
I
both
mean
ways. Works both
it.
ways. You've been my inspiration and coach too. So,
No.
that's what's so great about this girl tribe is that it's a really powerful group. And boy, do we
Yeah.
need it these days just to keep saying, hey, sister, I got your back and I'm going to hold you up because, our voices need to be heard and the stories need to be told. So you've created this platform for us to be able to do that. So the universe is using you in a big way, which is pretty
Oh,
awesome. Yeah.
thank you. Thank you. And I feel it. Like I said, I have to pinch myself, but at the same time, I receive that and I feel it. And so that's what I want to talk about today. And I'd love for people to get a sense of what you'll be discussing at the retreat, because in the pre-interview, you were just like a little schoolgirl jumping up and down because of
I
your
know.
revelation and excitement, which
Yes.
I feel like, as entrepreneurs, if we're not jumping up and down like little schoolgirls and getting jacked up about, an insight or a download or something that we learn that we get to be channels for and
Yes.
and move forward, then we haven't truly fulfilled our purpose. And
Oh,
so
so true. So true. Well, it was so funny because when we were planning our interview, I thought I was going to be speaking about something totally different.
yeah.
But last night, I was at a dinner with two of my, closest, my besties, and they asked me a question. And they said, one of them was a client, and she said, I just have a question for you. She said, well, you've gone through so many challenges in life, and she said, but you keep rising out of the ashes, the phoenix
Mhm.
rising again over and over and over and over. I mean, really, it started when I was 6 years old to now.
Yeah.
And she said, have you ever sat down and wrote down your process? Like, what do you do? You,
Mhm.
Perry, what do you do? And she said, because when I think of you, the word resilient and resilience is really the word that comes forward. And my boyfriend said the same thing about me. It was really interesting. And I got a download last night. It's like just a complete download. And I sat down and I wrote some stuff up. I got up at 4 o'clock this morning. It was like Spirit just woke me up. And I started jotting down some things, and that's what I want to share today, because, reading all the stories in this amazing book, I would say every woman in this book has this amazing word, resilience.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we have to teach people, especially in today's, day and age. I mean, today, here it is, 9/11, 19 years ago. We had this horrific, challenge that it somehow brought us all together. I mean, remember those days? It's like we stood together, and we held hands together, and we were resilient together to rebuild and to reignite. And that's what we need to get back to today, particularly in this time, in this atmosphere. So what I did, I wrote down, I love to teach. So I wrote down like 5 steps. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up on my website some resilience exercises to do, because resilience has got to be practiced. It really is a practice. It's not like you're born with it or you wake up with it. It's something that's a muscle that, anybody can do.
Yep.
And you can create your own way. So if you don't mind me doing that, I'd love to share those. And I know we got to make it quick, but I just wanted to give some people some things to think about. And if you got a pen and paper, go grab it, or your phone, your notes, because these were some things that really helped me.
And Pirie, if you wouldn't mind me just jumping in while people are, grabbing their pen and their pad, I just want people to really understand how powerful and influential you are, so that they can see through the lens of, like, you're not just talking for fun, like you've actually applied these tools, and you've helped and you've mentored so many people. And with I just know, like, if I were to read your resume, it probably wouldn't do you justice. But Pirie, I know that you've worked with Deepak Chopra and Maya Angelou and the Dalai Lama, and you have this incredible podcast that talks about how to transition. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, you could probably articulate this better than I could, but transition into the next phase, the second phase of life, and how that's really a point where you can really begin and start to reinvent yourself and get excited and really tap into the things that light you up. And so, those of you that are watching the Own Your Throne podcast, is so fun to hear as I'm entering the second phase of my life. I'm almost, I'm going to be 38 in a couple months. And so seeing women like you, I just have to say, it just gets me so excited about aging and having fun doing it, and the wisdom and the beauty. And if we look at other cultures, aging is a beautiful thing, but for whatever reason in our culture, we look at the Instagram and we want to stay 21 for the rest of our life. And if I was 21 for the rest of my life, I would want to, because I was not
right.
A person.
No. Yeah, we just didn't know. We didn't know. We hadn't had the experiences yet. Yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead and give us the goods. And I just, again, sorry for interrupting, but I want people to really understand that what you're teaching on right now has helped you overcome, not just overcome really deep, dark, horrific things, but you've been able to channel that with your tools into being the Pirie Grossman that you are today, and being an agent of change and a thought leader and impacting so many people. So take it away.
Well, you're kind. Well, the Own Your Throne, is about empowering women in their second chapter of lives. And it's all about reinvention and reigniting and even expanding. So I also encourage, if you're in your 30s and 40s, to listen to it, because you get to hear these inspiring stories from these women that are game changers as well. And they tell you how they did it. They share their technique and inspire you. So you'll learn a lot. Like, I'm sitting at the feet of some amazing women, and still taking notes as we get to interview them. So it's been pretty fun. But just to kind of give you a little overview. So it started for me, challenges started for me at 6 years old. My mom was mentally ill. She's schizophrenic. I was put in a mental institution for putting a gun to my head when I was 6 years old. So it started there. And then I'm going to do what we call, you guys probably don't remember this, the Reader's Digest version, which is the short version. So I just wrote down last night, I went, okay, I've been married 4 times, had 4 divorces, had a suicide attempt. I dealt with infertility issues. I had 7 miscarriages. I had various sicknesses, that were going on throughout this period, change of jobs. And as I looked back on this list, I was like, holy crap, how did I get through that? And, the very first thing I always say is that I'm a faith girl. I believe in God with my whole heart. And whether it's God or a higher power or the universe, whatever that is, it's a spiritual base. And spirituality for me is my mojo. It's so I get to co-create with God. And as I've always said, we're spiritual beings having a human experience when we come on the planet. So it's all about soul's growth, soul advancement. And that's why we have these experiences, and that's why we have these challenges. So these challenges is what teaches us resilience. So I just want to give you 5 key things to write down if you want and take some notes, is how to be more resilient. What are some of the skills? So the first thing I said is stop your negative thought cycles. You've heard this over and over and over again, but it really starts with the brain, because our emotions like to take over, but the thought occurs first. So we get caught up in this negative, I call it negatron thinking, instead of taking actions to move forward, we stay stuck. And so we want to do, it's called a behavioral break. You want to break that cycle. So 2 ideas to do, like if your mind is going off and you're beating yourself up and you're talking about, whatever, you can't get out of the cycle, stop what you're doing, go outside, take a walk, even if it's for 5 minutes. Do some deep breathing exercises, because we all know that the deep breathing helps us activate our nervous system. It helps us change that. Whatever it is, and it doesn't have to be long, but make a behavioral change. And it's a physical change because it shifts it. And our brain finally goes, oh, I'm going to focus on something else. So you break that cycle.
I love that. The way that I think of it is like stopping the momentum. Like if we start negative, it's a snowball effect.
Yes.
And so being positive at that moment when you've snowballed into, the deep, dark waters of negativity, being positive isn't realistic a lot of the time. But what we can do is we can stop the momentum. And so going outside, even today, before every interview, I always go outside for a walk just so that I can clear my mind and get out of the space. And whatever happened before I stepped outside those doors, I've released. So I think that's such a simple concept that is so powerful. And I also use that in my framework when I coach my clients as well. So I'm glad that you're talking about that.
Yeah, it's important. And you as a yoga instructor, it's just a physical change to break the cycle. And even before you get there, make a plan. Make a plan. What works for you? And, write it down, put it on a Post-it note or whatever you want to do. And just always remember, this is my plan when I get stuck. Because it hits just like that. We can get triggered in a nanosecond. So have the plan ahead of time. And then I said the second thing is to question the catastrophe. Is it really as bad as it seems, right? So you train your mind. So when challenges happen, we always go to the worst possible outcome. Like, let's say you lost a job. Oh my God, I've lost my job. I'm going to meet, and you go off on the track, right? I'm going to lose all the financial welfare that I have. My kids won't eat. I can't have any lifestyle. I can't pay for gas in my car. We automatically go to the negative, right? Changing it with a behavioral change again to break the cycles I talked about. So this is a little trick I do. I carry a rose quartz heart. I carry it with me in my bag. I have another one in my car. And whenever I start on that cycle of, oh my God, something bad just happened, seemingly bad happened, and I'm in that negative moment, I reach for that rose quartz and I touch it.
Rose quartz.
Because and it's whatever pendant, something that brings your mind to it of like, wait a minute, is this really as bad as I think it is? So when you have that touch to something and you hold it for a while, it just gives your brain a moment to say, reflect. Right. Is this the worst thing that could happen? You know? And
that's
so
that's a protective mineral as well.
yes. Well, notice my necklace. So this, my bestie, Stephanie Princio, she creates these. So you see they're all words. And it's the I am collection. So you'll see one that says I am blessed, I'm fearless, I'm loved. And she has all these different words. And you can go to SFP Jewels on her Instagram account. So this is some of my pendants, and I might change the word every day of what I might need. You know, if I'm not feeling so loved or whatever, I'll put on I'm loved. Or if I'm not feeling so grateful, I'm grateful, or I'm blessed. So something like this, and you don't even have to wear them, but just even carrying them around with you, it just changes your brain to where it goes, wait a minute, really, who are you? Because that's what it ultimately comes to, is who are we really? We're not limits. We're not a limitation, right? Remember that the best possible outcome is just as likely to occur as the worst, right? But we always go to the worst. For instance, losing that job is only shutting the door so that the real job you're supposed to be having, that you've probably been praying about or you've probably been wishing, then that it gets to happen.
That's right.
And one of my favorite phrases is that lives fall apart because they need to be rebuilt. Right? We got to change the foundation. So don't be afraid of change. It's just another door. Remember my mom always telling me, well, don't worry. One door closes, there's always a window that opens. And I thought, why is it a window? Why can't it be another door? You know? So make it as big as you want, because change is important. It's growth. That's what we're about. So when change happens, think, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. What's coming up next?
Yep.
And that,
I love that. Yeah, Catherine Gaile and I talked about this the other day, and she said, you know, when we get a no or when a door closes, it's the universe protecting your energy to something that's greater, something that's really part of your path.
Yes.
So I know for a lot of us, it's really hard right now to not focus on all of the doors that are closing for us and all of the limitations. But consider that door could be closing because there's something so much greater waiting for you when you surrender and learn how to say yes to that and see through that vision.
I love that word, surrender. Actually, I have one of those words too. It's
on the necklace? Ooh,
yes, I know.
I'll Stephanie up.
Yes, I know. It's surrender is huge. Okay, so the third one is overcome your fear of failure. You know, we worry about what people think if we fail, right? We worry about being judged. So what comes in automatically is shame, right? And you've heard this many times. I mean, the most successful people have had the most failures because they keep trying. So that's what builds up resilience, is you just keep trying. If you fell down, hey, it's like a 2-year-old. You watch your kids fall down all the time, but do they ever stop trying to get back up? No. So why would we not, as adults, do the same thing? You know, instead of waiting for days and we want to wallow around in the pain and we want to create a story and a narrative, oh, poor me, blah, 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 you're wasting all that time. Toddlers, and they fall, they jump right back up. Think of ourselves as childlike again, of being the wonderment of the world. Get back up, you know, stand back up and just look around and look for the positive. And that getting back up action stops the fear. It stops it in its track. And that was another one that I wrote about.
Well, and the way, and just as a side note, because I write about this in the book on this topic, is if we didn't get back up, then we'd all be adults crawling around on the floor, shitting our pants.
Right? Yeah, we would be.
Potty training's the same way. And I just finished potty training my 3-year-old, and it is a process. Like, she doesn't always make it. She didn't always make it to the toilet, but we kept going because I didn't want her to be, you know, a 30-year-old adult pooping her pants.
Right.
That's what we want to be.
No, and you know what? And if it sometimes happens where you do, Okay, you just go clean yourself up and you put on another fresh pair of pants and you go, I'm going out there again.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just, it's that mindset, that positive mindset. It takes just as much energy, actually more, to be a negative mindset than it does a positive mindset.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I always, say it to myself when I go down that Negatron, walk. I'm like, okay, whoa, Pirie girl, this is crazy. Just flip the switch. And, and everyone can make excuses. We all can, but I'm not buying them. And you shouldn't either, because that's what's stopping you, is the fear, and you won't get to grow in resilience. And that's the goal. It's called, and this is what came to me that I loved, instead of thinking failure is a threat and your body starts to prepare for a fight, right? Think of it as a challenge so that you can overcome this. So it's a challenge mindset. So when something happens, instead of going, oh my God, here we go, sit there and go, wow, this is interesting. If you can step back and seem like you're a little fly on the wall from what's happening in your life, you get a better and clearer perspective. And it's like, how am I going to course correct this? Or what is the reframe for me? Because we get so stuck in this little box that that's all we see. And when we open up like that, pretend like you're a little fly on the wall in your own life and step back and go, what's the reframe? How can I really overcome this challenge? Which direction do I need to go? And so that helps you, remind yourself of all the goals you achieved. And you and I talked about this before. This is my favorite tool. I write down all of the failures or challenges on a piece of paper and on one side. And then next to it, I write, what did I learn from them, from each one? Mm-hmm. And it's again your frame of mind going into, these are the things I've learned, so that's the road I want to keep on going. And whenever something else is coming up, I call it just a light on the inside of something that's broken there that needs to be healed. And it's just coming up in an emotion or a challenge or something, we kind of go, that's something I need to pay attention to. It's a challenge, so I'm going to go into my challenge mindset and change my words and change my thoughts, and it changes your action. I know I'm going a mile a minute. I'm so excited about this.
It's good.
Don't personalize things. We tend to personalize our failures, and it's not a failure. It's just something that just didn't work. And maybe it just wasn't the right time or the right person. I mean, I used my story when I was married, to a man in Beverly Hills. We had this huge home, and we were, thought the perfect couple. And I tried desperately to have my children with him. He wasn't the right one. He died 5 years after we divorced. And I really looked at it that my kids, those spirits, didn't want him as a father. Mm. And I know that's a stretch. It sounds like a stretch, but I was willing to give up my life because I was convinced this was the man. This was the father of my children. God had a total different plan. If I'd had children with him, he wouldn't be around on the planet. I'd be raising these children by myself. So before you step out and you go into that deep hole and dark night of the soul, stop and ask yourself, wait a minute, is there a better plan that I don't see? That's beautiful. And really, be very conscious about that. Remember, everything will pass. Remember the phrase, this too shall pass. Nothing lasts forever. Nothing stays the same, and you don't want it, good and bad, right? So keep remembering that it's important to find the silver linings. And when you make that list of things and you start seeing the things that you've learned, you find the silver linings. And it just reminds you, maybe you recall a project or a relationship or a job or something that didn't work out. Ask yourself, how could this situation be worse? And then ask yourself, what other opportunities could result from this? And then the third question, what are the positives? So that again is thinking outside the box. And you take a deep breath, and it keeps your emotions at bay. You know, maybe you need to go take a walk a little again as you're ruminating and asking yourself these questions. I love this quote. The end of something is also the beginning of something new. Values. I wanted to talk about this a little bit. Values can actually help us because let's say you're a father, you lost your job, you have 2 children, you have to feed them, right? So instead of going in and feeling sorry for yourself, what are his values? Well, he has 2 children that he loves and he has to care for them. So his values will get him up off the floor instead of feeling sorry for himself that he lost a job and he looks and he finds another job. So sometimes our values can move us and get us out of the ashes and move us into action because it's outside of ourselves. So question, what are my values? What's important to me? And when you write those down, when you know those, that could be the very key that unlocks this and gives you that resilience and builds that resilience up in you.
Those are such great nuggets of gold, Pirie. Thank you so much. And I know you're going to go into detail at the virtual retreat. And I also have to say, you know, if you guys haven't already picked up your copy of Soul Success, Pirie's chapter is so incredible, what you've been through. And I know you share a lot of these same nuggets in the book as well. So thank you for just being so vulnerable and transparent in your journey and being a light for I know myself, but definitely others as well.
Oh, Sweetie, thank you. It's my privilege. We all learn from one another, right?
Yep.
And we're always going to be growing
That's
and
right,
changing. Yeah. And keep going higher and higher. So,
yep.
But thank you for giving me this time and opportunity. And,
Yes.
you know, and I will put up on my, so if people want to go to Own Your Throne, it's ownyourthrone.co, C-O,
Okay.
and you can download a freebie where it teaches you how to own your throne. There's some steps in there that is important. And then if you go to my personal website, I'm going to finish creating these resilience exercises and also a questionnaire for yourself to ask yourself, you know, am I resilient? Am I afraid of it? And it will help guide you and lead you into really owning that resilient part of you, or if you haven't developed yet, what you want to develop, because that really is what makes you strong.
Well, I know a lot of people can really utilize that resource right now. So you guys make sure to find Pirie at her website. And then if you haven't already, grab your tickets to the virtual retreat so you can see her live online at thesoulsuccess.com/events. And again, Pirie, thank you so much for being with us today. And I can't wait to see you at the retreat.
I know. We get to do a virtual hug.
Yeah, exactly. Lots of virtual hugs.
I know. Oh, sweetie, thank you. It was so wonderful talking to you and everybody else. Get your tickets, you guys, if you haven't done it yet, because there's some amazing people and teachers and, you know, and that's another thing. I'm going to throw this one other nugget in. As you're going through whatever you're going through, difficulties, you know, it's important to listen to summits like this and to listen to uplifting podcasts, because that's putting the good stuff in you.
Yep.
And don't say to yourself, I don't have time.
Yep.
Because make time for yourself. And what a great way to do it than to share the time with some inspirational women, because we're all here together and we all love each other. So that's
agree. Cool. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Pirie, so much love. I will see you in a few days, and thank you again.
Perfect. Thank you, honey. See you later. Bye.